Today we're doing something different, money mistakes. We're asking people their biggest financial regrets, what they wish they knew earlier, and most importantly, how they would avoid these mistakes. Come with me and let's start talking to the members of the public. Today I'm with lovely gentlemen.
My name's Darren.
Lovely Darren. Darren, how old are you?
62.
What would you say is one of the biggest financial mistakes you've made?
Money I spent on cars.
How much
And women.
Cars and women. How old are you?
How old am I? I'm 29 years of age.
First and foremost, do you rent or do you own?
I rent my flat. Yeah, just down the road from here.
What's the biggest financial mistake you've made?
I'd say taking out car finance when I was 18.
How old are you?
18.
Nice. What's the biggest financial mistake you've made?
Getting things that I wanted instead of needing.
Like
Going out shopping with friends when I knew I had a subscription to pay for instead.
What's the biggest financial mistake you've made?
£300 behind the bar.
How would you say that, those investments that you made on your cars, how did it change your view on things?
It's just materialistic things, isn't it, really? At the end of the day, it's not what car you drive, it's what you are as a person, and also, being financially secure. And if you've got a house, you haven't got to worry about, renting somewhere, you haven't got to worry about, and you can move if you want to. Whereas if you're a council tenant, a housing association, or private renter, you've always got problems of, security of tenanture.
What's stopping you from buying?
What's stopping me from buying? Well, obviously the impending cost of living crisis, as we're all aware of, and the kind of lack of synchronicity between wages and housing prices. Obviously, the housing market has been on a bit of a collapse for many years now, so it's harder to get that first foot into the property market. As a person of our generation, of my generation in particular, you kind of are snookered into a bit of a renter's market, and then obviously in this country there isn't actually legislation to control the renting market, so you're spending so much money on rent, so you're unable to save. So it's this weird kind of loop-de-loop of not being able to get out of that renting circle, essentially.
How old are you?
27.
What's the biggest financial mistake you've made?
No mistakes, man. No mistakes.
Perfect, yeah?
Perfect. It's all a learning curve anyway, isn't it?
Fair.
Learn from our mistakes.
What's one piece of advice you would give the younger generation when it comes to making investments?
Well, work hard, save regularly. You've got to work hard first of all, and invest wisely. If you can put your money in bricks and mortar, because on a long-term basis, that's going to be the best investment you can make, rather than clothes, holidays, etc. Property without a doubt.
How old are you?
23.
What's the biggest financial mistake you've made?
Probably buying a car off Facebook Marketplace and the engine going.
Oh, that's a
Big
good.
mistake.
How much did that set you back?
1,000, 2.5. Yeah.
And what's the one thing you learned from that?
Don't buy off a stranger. Anything. Always go through someone proper.
Basically, I crashed my car and I didn't take gap insurance. So that was probably the biggest financial mistake that I made. So that sent me back 2K.
And from that experience, what did you learn?
I understand obviously people trying to upsell you on certain things, but really just trying to make sure that you have insurance and make sure you're covered, because the worst actually can happen. So yeah, that's probably it.
What's the biggest financial mistake you've made?
My girlfriend.
Oh. How did that happen?
I'm joking. Okay. So it'd probably a car again. Yeah, I've had quite a few cars I've brought, and not ended up too well. So
Not everyone is in the same financial position. Some of my friends are richer than I am, some of my friends are poorer than I am. And so I think there's a lot of peer pressure, and I think if you have a conversation about finance with your friends and you kind of come to an agreement of it, then it works. But if you don't, and you're all kind of assuming that you can and can't, then it doesn't work.
What's the biggest financial mistake you would say you've made?
Living in London.
Living in London.
So that's why I'm back in Essex.
Makes sense. How old are you?
25.
What's the biggest financial mistake you've made?
I would say my first car as well. Cost me like $5,000 and I drove it 3 times because it was manual. And I cannot drive manual.
So you bought a car you couldn't drive, but still bought it anyway?
Yeah.
So did I.
As you mentioned insurance, funnily enough, I actually do financial protection for people. So I actually put together people's life insurance, mortgage insurance, income protection, critical illness. Do you have life insurance?
Yes, I do.
Top man, why do you have life insurance?
I just had a baby.
Congratulations.
Just had a baby, yeah.
What's the reason that you think most people don't have life insurance?
Just don't think they're gonna die. I don't know. No, just these things are just not really taught, so you don't really know what you're covering. Obviously, you see a lot of GoFundMe pages when people die, but you don't really think you're gonna reach 60 odd. So yeah, I don't know why people don't, but I think for me it's probably just lack of education, just not knowing what's out there, why you need it, how cheap it can be.
So my question is, because as someone that puts together financial protection for people on a daily basis, my question is, not knowing that you don't have life insurance, but you know that you're going to pass away and it's going to cost money when you pass away, what's the alternative in... Exactly. The alternative to life insurance is GoFundMe. Do you guys want your families to be on GoFundMe asking for just 3-4 grand? What do you say to the people that think it's better to rent rather than own?
Definitely not. No, because at the end of the day, if you own, you can move wherever you want to. When you get older, you can downsize. You can move away out, into the country, get something a lot cheaper. You'd have money in the bank. If you're renting all the time, it's like dead money, without a doubt, dead money.
Overall, do you think that everyone should aspire to own property, or do you think it's better to rent forever?
I guess it's a case-by-case thing. I think owning a property, I've never owned one, but I guess it must be quite empowering because you're investing back into yourself, into your own kind of net worth. Whereas renting, you are just putting money in some geezer's pocket. So there is that, and it's like, it's nice to be paying that mortgage and that's, you're just looping back around to yourself at the end of the day, So yeah, I'd like to stop paying rent for sure.
And as an 18-year-old, do you plan to rent forever or own your own home one day?
Own my own home. Renting, as my grandfather always used to tell me, he says it's dead money. There's no point in it. You don't get anything by the end of it. If you manage to get yourself a mortgage and if you manage to do that, then you have a home by the end of it. When you rent, you don't get anything at the end of it.
And how much do you see people asking for when you see a GoFundMe?
It was my friend, his mum passed away, so he was asking for like 10, 20 grand, something like that.
Do you see there's a 10-20 grand bill that's just come out just like that? So now it's double the pain, right? Because losing your mum is already long in itself, regardless of how much money she leaves. But now you've got a further pain of now having to find money just overnight. So before you know it, he's going to have to go to work. They're going to say, oh, do you want to take the time off to grieve? He's going to have to, soldier up and be like, no, I want overtime. Now he can't even grieve because he's got to look for money that he shouldn't be looking for. Whereas if his mum just had a simple life insurance policy, I call it a pizza policy, £20 a month, £10 a month, whatever, she would have left him anywhere from 5 to 6 figures, just like that. What's one piece of advice you'd give to younger people about pensions?
Consider them seriously because, again, you're going to think you're not going to grow old. It's really important that you have a pension. And another thing I'd like to add, which is for maybe, it's also private healthcare.
Tell us.
I've got a private healthcare plan. Unfortunately, my health has not been that good, but due to obviously the fact that I've got private healthcare, I've had the best treatment. Obviously, as I probably will be in there, I've got a big operation coming up next month privately. If I had to rely on a national health system, I'd be scuppered. Yeah, house, pension, and if you can afford it, private healthcare.
I love how you touched on that because what I do for a living is essentially I help people put together their financial protection.
Right. Okay.
So, like you said, private medical insurance, life insurance, critical illness, income protection.
Yeah.
From someone that actually has seen it, the amount that you spend on a monthly basis versus the value it gives, how would you describe that?
Okay, for instance, my private healthcare, I pay about £200 a month, and I've got an operation coming up that's going to cost probably £40,000 to £50,000. So, and I've had my eyes done, I've had some skin cancer, I've had a bunion, and I think over the last 5 years, the total cost is probably, I'd say, without exaggeration, I'd say in the region of about 70k. So for paying £200 a month, which is basically 2.5k a year, it's well worth it. 100% well worth it.
What's one thing you would tell your 18-year-old self now that you think will make the biggest impact?
18-year-old self. Just really not trying to keep up with the Joneses, taking your time, things will come. Yeah, and just being patient.
And what's one piece of advice that you'd give the younger generation or your 18-year-old self?
Don't smoke, it's really expensive.
Good advice, good advice. What's one piece of financial advice you'd give to to people your age?
I'm not the one to ask because I'd say go get a drink. Get some Jaegers, Daniel. But realistically, you should probably save your money, but have a good time in the process.
And what's one piece of advice or something you would share with, people your age that you think they could do better with their money, whether to, have more money to save for a house deposit or even just in general?
I'd say save as much as you can now because it's going to get a lot harder later. And also it's very nice to see, like when you see in your savings account that you've got that money, it's lovely to see. And then also probably build up your credit as much as you can. And the way I'd probably say that is if you haven't got it in your debit account, don't use it on your credit account. Pay it off every couple of days. Don't pay it off immediately, but pay it off as much as you can and stay far away from any kind of debt that you can.
Lovely. Well, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. What's one piece of advice you would give your 19-year-old self now, with all the knowledge you've acquired and everything that you know that you think would make the ultimate difference in their trajectory and how fast they could, become successful?
Again, just I think the most important thing is to get a good career behind you, work hard. We've interviewed young people. The first thing they say is, this is a fact. How many days a month do I get sick? How many, what's the working hours, etc. You've got to put a lot into your career. You've got to work hard. If you work hard, you reap the benefits at the end of the day. If you work hard, obviously you can command a better salary, get a profession. I don't particularly agree with going to university. I did like everything day release because I wanted to get the practical experience. But I don't know. It's really hard to educate the younger generation now of how to make provisions for their future.
Thank you so much for your time. I know I've taken more than I promised.
Bless you, my
but
friend.
so much sound advice, and I wish you all the best.
Cheers. Thanks, fella. Thanks.
Yeah, it looks like everyone's everyone has something they'll tell their younger self, And I think it's good to speak to the people around you because they've got knowledge that you don't know. Like, they're going to be knowledgeable at something. And if you can extract that knowledge, you might be saving yourself 5, 10, 20, 30 years of mistakes. So definitely speak to your parents, ask them questions, people around you. They don't have to be the most successful, but they're definitely going to know something you don't. So guys, if you want to learn how to avoid these expensive mistakes, I've put together a brilliant money program for you, along with a fantastic community that will help you do exactly just that. So if you're interested, comment the word learn below and I'll give you early access to it.